Yeah, I will. Thank you.
Okay, everybody ready to roll? Okay, Sarah is on vacation this week, so I'll be filling in and helping run the June 15th Columbus Utility Commission meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order and make note that this meeting was properly noticed. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda, or does anybody have anything they'd like to discuss with regarding the agenda?
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, and then visitors. Do we have any visitors here tonight? Nope. So we won't have anything to discuss or comment with relation to visitors. Next is the consent agenda. Anyone have any questions or care to discuss anything on the consent agenda?
I just have one question because I've never noticed it before.
Yes.
On page 8, and then halfway down, there's the credit.
Page, what are we on?
Page 8 of this that you handed out tonight,
Yeah, I'm looking. Page 8. Yeah.
and then halfway down is
Are we looking at the
is the
purchase?
credit. No, it's on.
The
This one.
$348,000 credit?
Oh, that's the accounts payable one. That's what you're looking at? Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
yeah,
So there's the credit. I was just wondering what that.
right, it's the water payable. So all the water expenses go into the payable. That's how it reconciles.
Oh, okay, got it.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Because you'll see on the page right before that, you'll see the water payable account. Or I mean, the electric. So all the electric expenses and
Oh,
then
okay.
credits to
Yep.
accounts payable.
I see it. If I'd have caught that, I probably would have been all right.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, if not, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve tonight's consent agenda.
I will second that.
And I think we need a roll call.
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay. Curtis?
Aye.
Hammer?
Aye.
Beckman?
Aye.
Andler?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, next on the agenda is unfinished business. We don't have any unfinished business to discuss, so we'll move on to the next agenda item, which is new business. First on the new business list is the wastewater clarifier deck discussion.
Good evening, everyone. So there should be a memo in your packet that we put together as a result of the bids that were recently opened on May 23rd. So not so good news. We had been working on this project for a little while, and what had occurred, and it's kind of explained here in the memo, is that we had been estimating the cost of this project to be around $100,000, and that was based on some preliminary estimates that we received from contractors, particularly actually the one that bid, had provided us an early quote earlier this year. As this project had evolved and ended up going out to bid, it was completed in April. We did have quite a few contractors that downloaded plans and had interest in it. Ultimately, after some, I guess, solicitation from us to reach out to contractors to encourage them to bid, there was only one ultimate contractor that bid it, and that was the contractor who helped us estimate the cost for the budget. And as you can see, the contract estimate was $100,000 initially. The bid came in at $165,000. So we were actually a little taken back by the fact that it was significantly over budget and that we only had one bidder. So as we had mentioned in the memo, Rupert Milkie had followed up to better understand why several contractors didn't bid. And we kind of got a little mixed bag of everything from timing to busy to, some other factors. I think one contractor even indicated that We had reached out to them in an email, but they had changed their email address, so we thought they knew about it, and they ultimately weren't. So unfortunately, I think it was just kind of a series of events that kind of led up to just receiving the one bid. So there is a recommendation, I guess, here that we would like the commission to consider from lack of significant bids to, and the fact that it's overbid, to consider maybe postponing this project into '24. This is a project that needs to be done. It's been a project that's needed to be done in for a while. It's been on the capital plan. But it is something, when we discussed with Katie, it is something that could slide till next year. Our hope is that we can solicit more contractors to receive those bids to make it more competitive. We also want to bid this later on this year for next year's construction to get a little further ahead of the bidding cycle. I think we got caught a little bit on the back end. You know, people were starting, I think, to book up jobs and stuff when this went out. I think that was also a reason that we didn't get any bids. I know we did some work for the city where we got bids early on in the year, and they were very favorable this year. So a little bit of it just falls on the unique situation and the timing of things. So with that, I do want to note, and I make sure that everybody understands this, because it doesn't happen often, but if we choose not to move forward with this project now, there always is a risk. And I always tell everybody the risk is it could come in higher, or it could come in different. I don't think that's necessarily the case based on what we're hearing back from contractors. But there always is that factor that plays into it. And the other thing that does is there's a little bit of cost to update the documents to get them refreshed with dates and re-advertised and those type of things. So there is a pretty nominal expense from the engineering side to put this back out on the street to rebid it. But I think based on how far this was over budget, our recommendation is, since there's a single bid, it's significantly high, to at least take into consideration this is a '24 project and not a '23 project. I think that also will give the utility a little time to reevaluate the budget and possibly put a little contingency in there for next year, just in case that the bids do come in similar to what we saw this year or something, and that might just be the market rate right now. So that's kind of what we wanted to bring up here for discussion tonight, just to kind of have some dialogue, answer any questions, see if you have any concerns about the bid or the process, and how we followed up to try and learn a little more about what went on, and what we can do to help resolve that if we want to go ahead and put this back out to rebid at a future date. So, any questions?
That's good. First of all, I appreciate the memo. That was helpful. Is there any downside? Of course, there's a possibility that it'll come in higher next year, but is there anything as far as compliance that we're worried about if we wait longer, or any grants that are waiting on this?
No, this is not grant funded, and as I had mentioned, obviously the decks need repair. We had some tuck pointing or grouting done years back, and I think that kind of prolonged that a little bit, but this is the major repair that we've been kind of pushing off, or kind of kicking the can down the road on a little bit on. And again, I talked to Katie, the decks will be fine, if we look at moving them forward, but we do need to address fixing or repairing these clarifier decks, so.
I think it's kind of worthwhile to rebid it later this year, as you recommended. Just thinking that we might be ahead of the game a little more, and then it would allow us to maybe, if we can find money or make the decision to add a little more to the budget, it might be a win-win from that perspective. But yes, there is the risk that
Right.
it could come in higher, but hope that maybe we had some competitive bids to kind of work with it at a future date, rather than sign off on it right now. That's my thought about it.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And like I said, we did have quite a few plan holders. That means we had interest in it initially. It's just they didn't turn in bids, and that's why we were kind of suspicious that there's some more underlying issues here in timing and, pricing and, different things, labor, people are looking, everybody's got, labor shortages and stuff. So we just aren't sure all the answers, but, we would hope that we could, plan this out and get a good bid again if we tried it.
When were the bids due?
The bids were due May 22nd.
May
Or May
22nd.
May 23rd? Yes, May 23rd.
Yeah, that's kind of late in the,
It is.
In the
The
game.
facilities work is slightly different than, road work, because facilities work can be done kind of annually, all year long, where, when we're bidding roads and those type of projects, there is a really defined bid window where you can get good pricing. If you're outside of that, it's not good. I don't know that that factors as much into a project like this, but it does. I'm not saying it doesn't. So yeah, I do think we got a little late in the bid cycle here. And that probably did hurt us, at least as far as getting additional bids, If we would have had 2 or 3 bids, I would hope that one would have been much closer to the budget estimate, so. Yeah, it's hard for me to stand up here and recommend moving forward this kind of high-priced bid on a single bid. Be different if we had 3 or 4 bidders that were all similar and we knew the work had to be done. But I think it's just not really representative in my mind of what the work could be done for. So. And I think the other piece of this is, I think Katie will maybe speak to it, just as far as this budget for this year and trying to still accomplish some work at the plant this year, being that we're going to postpone this. So I'll kind of let her maybe chat about that.
So in lieu of the fact that this was probably going to be set aside to maybe next year, we were looking into what else could be done. We set $100,000 in the budget for this project. So I have $100,000 sitting there. Hopefully I could get something else done this year in lieu of that. Next year I was planning on doing a dome coating project. Our domes have some issues as far as flaking off their fiberglass domes, and there's big chunks of coating that is flaking off. I had the Sanchez coating, the same company that did the filters, give me some quotes, and I think you have one in there for the domes itself. I asked him to split it up because originally he had, you don't have it? Oh, shoot, and I didn't make a copy, but I can pass this around. There's 3 domes, actually. There's the clarifier domes, which are circular, and then kind of a rectangular dome. And he was going to give me a quote for the whole amount. Sorry about that. That came above what we were looking to spend also. So then I had him break it down to just the 2 clarifiers, which are desperately in need of recoating. And it comes in at $59,325. So speaking with Dave Arnott from Ruckert Milky, he agreed. He sent them the specs of what he would expect them to be coated, and he came back again with this $59,325 for the 2 domes to be done this year. He could, he said we could do the other one for an additional, let's see, where is it? $66,855, but that puts us over the budget. So I'm asking for approval for just the domes to be done. That way we still have money left over in the budget from the clarifier deck projects. This is a repair. So we shouldn't have to, as far as I know, we shouldn't have to have the 3 bids. But, so I was asking hopefully to have this done in lieu of.
How often do the domes get?
I'm not sure when the last time, do you have any idea when the last time? Okay, so.
Since 82.
Yeah, I thought that they were done somewhere in there, but it's been a long time, a very long time. And the fiberglass is starting to break down underneath where the coating isn't. So if we don't do something pretty, I was gonna put this in next year's budget. So if we don't do something pretty soon, we're gonna have a bigger issue as far as the domes itself breaking down. So, and he said they actually have, and the reason why I'm coming today instead of the next month is that the company actually has time to do it this month. So we could very quickly get these done this summer and, at least we'd have half of the project done and then look forward to maybe next year getting the rest of it done.
Are these guys a well-known name in doing this type of work? Like, so if we.
Yeah, that's what they do. And again, they did a fantastic job for our filters. This is the same company
Okay.
that did our filters. And they got it done ahead of schedule and they actually went above and beyond of what we asked them to.
Oh, great, thank you.
So, and you guys can have this one too to look at if you want. You good? Yeah, we're done. Okay.
It's not on the agenda though, so that's,
Oh,
Okay.
okay, because this latter topic was not on tonight's agenda, we aren't able to make a motion on it or vote on it. So I think we'll need to table it to a special meeting or next month's meeting. And I'll talk to Sarah about that to see if we need a special meeting to just approve it, if it needs to be done before next month's meeting. And if there aren't any other questions, then we need to get a motion to,
but I don't know if you need a motion, do you? It's just.
No.
Move the clarifier deck to unfinished business for next month, so that,
Okay.
then, that we can approve, rebidding it.
so next month we'll vote
Yeah.
on it, or?
Why do we have to, we have
we need
it
it
on the
now.
agenda
We've got
this?
It was for discussion.
Oh,
Would that have to go to a motion to rebid for approval?
I don't know how it was worded on the agenda.
It just says discussion.
We're just gonna do the discussion.
Yeah,
I mean, the
Okay.
consensus is to have it rebid, but
Yeah.
it should be a line item with approval.
yeah, so I'd put it in,
Unfinished
into
business.
unfinished
Yeah,
business for.
yeah.
And then put discussion and approval for,
Okay,
and then the item that Katie talked about would be
New business, discussion and approval,
of what, yes.
and not, unless we would throw a,
special meeting or
meeting in
something.
there.
Yeah,
So-
if the contractor has time to do it this month, do we want to get that approval sooner rather than later? Or do you sense that maybe he'd have time next month if we,
I don't know if he does. I will have to ask him. I would prefer to see if we could get approval ahead of time. But,
Yeah. Okay.
I may be able to get him to, right now, they have lost a job, for whatever reason that somebody decided not to do it and they have time to do it right now.
okay. I'll pass this on to Sarah, and then maybe she can call a special meeting here in the very near future, and we can all,
Okay.
come together and give it our blessing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next are the electric department job descriptions. That too is listed on the agenda as a discussion.
Yep, and it was put in here as, at the last commission meeting, the commissioners had changed one of the electric department job description titles. And so I thought for your reference, I would put in here all 4 of the current positions that are in the electric department. So.
Get to that.
And if anybody had any questions or needed clarification.
And basically, this was breaking out one description that was maybe more, not more general in nature, but more encompassing into two more specific positions.
Correct.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So I just wanted you to see what that
And those
outcome
were,
looked like. That was the line foreman and lineman 2. And then, well, lineman 2 with that title and creation, kind of, you know, the lineman 1, it encompasses more advanced with the lineman 2.
has everybody had a chance to look at these and, yeah, okay.
Sure.
Go ahead, Sandy.
Michelle, under the line foreman, it mentions that they're in charge of maintaining the water treatment plant.
Yes.
Is that accurate?
It always has been in the past. So there was one line foreman, and then you had your linemen and your water operators. So he was kind of, in charge of all of the operations.
Okay.
But now that we have a lead water operator, you could potentially take that out. I mean, everyone kind of works together, so.
But
I think we should strike it if it's changed such that,
Yeah.
I would be comfortable with that, or if that person is going to be responsible for the maintenance of the water treatments, then they should have a water certification.
And they used to, and so you're right. And now that we have a lead water operator, you could strike that because, right, your line foreman does not have the water certifications like they have in the past.
Yeah.
So is that your suggestion?
That's
Yes.
my suggestion.
Okay,
I would agree with that.
yes, that makes sense. That makes sense.
And then my only other suggestion was that, in a number of places, it says the superintendent or the co-superintendent.
Yes.
To update that to the municipal services director.
I just noticed that as well, so yes, I will get that updated.
We're on the same page.
And it was just in those two, yes, in those two descriptions, so I will update that. You're welcome.
Any other comments?
Nope.
Okay. So, because this was just a discussion topic, we don't take any action on this one.
Right.
Nope.
Okay. Okay, next on the agenda is Columbus Utilities Personnel Policies and Procedures Handbook, listed as open for discussion and approval. And Michelle, I'm wondering if you could point out the changes,
Yep.
please. Oh,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
yep.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
In a couple of different places, it mentions the 20 minutes to report time.
Oh, and that's that was updated to 30 minutes.
I was just gonna say it's different than the handbooks.
Yep. Nope, that was changed before this one. So I will put that down, update the 30 minutes. Good catch, thank you. Okay.
No, thank you.
Okay. So there wasn't too many updates to the handbook. It was just to get it more, combined, because of the combined utilities. Katie and I sat down and went through, everything. So besides the municipal service director being updated throughout the handbook, if you go to page 12 of the handbook, which would be page 34 of your packet, section B, item 2, was added for the wastewater employees. page 34 of your packet, but page
Okay.
12,
So
page
page-
12 of
yeah.
your handbook. So page 11, it's call-in and standby. So when they have call-in and standby and they aren't actually called in, they still have to come in and do readings. And wastewater readings take longer than water readings. So that's why you see the 1 and the 2 under B, timed out. Because it's 1 hour for the water and it's 2 hours for the wastewater. So that was an addition. And the only other notable addition is page 19 of your handbook, which is 41 of your packet. A few months ago, the city council approved for their handbook the CDL driver's license reimbursement. And so we incorporated that into ours. As verbiage changes, we're trying to keep the city's handbook and the utilities handbook pretty as close and consistent as possible. So this was added, this was not in the handbook prior. And everything else has stayed the same since it's been last updated. Right? Okay.
I have some, 2 questions too. but-
Go ahead. Go ahead, Sandy.
On page 7,
Page-
under the pre-employment physicals, the first paragraph ends with the employee is designated, the physician designated by the employee. Is it the employee or the employer that designates who the physician?
No, we allow them to go to, if they want to go to their own physician, they can.
Okay,
The only thing that we is with the pre-employment drug screening, and that is the section, the 3rd section under there. That's directed by the municipal service director, and that's, in the past, they've gone to the hospital
okay.
out here.
And that was one thing I saw needs to be changed too, is that the name of the hospital is now Prairie Ridge instead of Columbus Community
Oh,
Hospital.
where's that?
In this, let's see, pages 30 through 34, where they're talking about the screening and the testing procedure.
Okay,
Yeah,
I saw that a couple of places.
right.
On page 30, the very last paragraph. And on the top of page 31, the last sentence of the first partial
Wait.
paragraph. Sorry, I'm
okay.
jumping around on you too much.
That's okay. Page 30. The last paragraph, okay. And then,
Page 31, the
Okay.
last sentence of the top
Okay.
partial paragraph.
and then I'll also do a fine to make sure if it's anywhere else, but I'll get that updated.
It's on 32 as well.
Yeah, it's probably a few places now that you say that.
Could we just do like Columbus Hospital and not name it in
Fine
case
with
they change the name again?
Oh,
Or I'm wondering, could we just say licensed professional or licensed facilities?
or local hospital?
Yeah, local hospital.
I mean, that's what,
Because if they can go to their, if they can go to their provider of choice, it could be Beaver Dam. it
no,
could be
only
Madison.
for their only for their pre-employment physical. The rest, doesn't it say?
This is basically when we're having them tested for.
And that-
Follow-up to an accident or.
And we would make them go to our local provider. The only time
Yeah.
the employee gets to choose their provider is for pre-employment physicals. The rest, they have to follow what
So if
the
it's like a
employer-
work accident,
Correct.
can you force them to go to a hospital when it's a work-related accident?
They're required to, yes, report.
I know they have to go to a licensed facility, but I didn't
Oh,
know that you could tell them. You can strongly encourage, but
oh.
I don't-
We've always had this in the past, so I guess I'm not 100% sure.
Well, when it's the drug testing,
I just know under the comp laws, you should not be able to force them to a provider, but you could.
Only for
encourage.
testing, only for drug and alcohol testing, not for care. Is that,
No, I'm referring to like, when I said if it's accident related, like if it's something on the job or,
Oh, no, I think they're thinking if they have an accident with a vehicle, you probably want to have them checked to make sure they weren't under the influence of anything.
but you're right, if they're hurt, they can go to who they choose if it's a workman comp issue.
yeah.
This is just to test their blood and alcohol.
okay,
and
okay.
if they're involved in an accident, somebody
Then they
has to
could-
drive them to the hospital
Yeah.
to be tested.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
So
good. I
that's
just
what
know
those
that
cases
certain
are.
situations you can't
Right.
dictate where they
Right.
have the ability to
Right,
go
right,
where they
right.
want.
Yeah, I mean,
Correct.
for instance, if the guys are involved in here, sorry.
You're on.
Okay. If the guys are involved in an electrical accident where they have an
Yeah.
electric burn, they have on file the hospital of their choosing
Yeah.
to go to.
Correct.
Because there are certain hospitals
Yeah.
that specialize in electrical burns, because it's totally different than a normal
Okay.
burn. So,
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
yeah.
So did you have a preference of what to update that to?
My suggestion would be to call it Prairie Ridge,
Okay,
but
and then change it as, if it ever changes again, we change it
if
again.
it ever does.
Absolutely, right, we can absolutely do that. Everybody okay with that?
And then I had one last question.
Yes.
That's on page 34, under consequences, under discipline. It references section 2, and I wonder if that should be section 4 instead of section 2.
Oh, I bet you that changed, you're probably right. Section 2, and you're thinking section 4. Can I find it? Section 2, and you're saying section 4, yes. Yes, you are correct, so that should be 4.
Thank you. I'm retired, I have more time.
That's why I like doing this, because I can look at it a bunch of times and not see some of this stuff.
I'm my own worst editor when it comes to stuff I am.
Me too.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, do I have a motion to approve
And,
the handbook with the,
well, the handbook that gets approved by the commission has to be ratified by the city council. Do you have to put that in the motion as well?
why not?
With a
Just to be on the
recommendation,
safe side.
with it, so
Yeah.
to approval with the recommendation to have the city council ratify, okay. I just,
Okay, I make a motion to approve the Columbus Utilities Personnel Policies and Procedure Handbook with the updated revisions and to be ratified by the council at future meeting.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, next On the agenda, we're going to adjourn to closed session under Wisconsin Statute 19.851C to consider the employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, specifically to discuss a specific employee's requirements and to consider specific employee compensation. We will reconvene to open session thereafter. Okay.
I'll make a motion that we go to closed session.
I will second.
All those in favor?
It's got to be a roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Hammer,
Aye.
Beckman,
Aye.
Andler,
Aye.
Curtis,
Aye.
Okay, it is, I'm sorry?
Do we go to?
Okay, it is now 8:03 PM and we are reconvening to open session. Next on the agenda item is to take action from closed session, so do I have a motion on what those actions are? Two separate ones.
Okay, I move to approve the $1,000 a month stipend through December of 2023 for the utility interim director.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any objections? Okay, and then the second motion?
And I motion to adhere to the terms of the employment contract
For the waste?
for the wastewater treatment plant.
All those in favor? Oh, no, I need a second, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
pardon me.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? Okay. With that, I believe we,
Utility reports, I don't know if there's anything that anybody
Oh, yeah.
really.
no. I just want to make note that the municipal utilities director position has been posted. No additional costs are going to be incurred by Chris, who is working on the recruiting for this position. So I'm sure we'll get more updates next month. And then the line foreman and the journeyman positions have been posted and resumes are going to be reviewed. Any other questions or comments? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Let's make a motion to adjourn.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thanks.
8.
Were we supposed to take a roll call, do you think, on that?
No.